Welcome back to all the students. Today we are going to start with the topic of soil profile. If you remember, last time we had just understood about the origin and development of soil, where at the end of the lecture I had mentioned that after the process of withering and pedogenesis, fully developed soil is formed. Now, when a soil is fully developed, it will show various horizons. So, today we are going to learn about those horizons which is included under this topic of soil profile. Right? So, first of all, we understand about soil profile. Now, before understanding this word, let us just understand that what is the meaning of profile. So, profile is the outline of something from one side, right? So, when you view something from just one side, then it is called profile. That gives you an outline of something right from that one side. Okay, so then soil profile is the vertical section of the soil. That is, when we take vertical section of the soil, we are actually viewing the soil from one single side. So this is called soil profile. Now when we view the soil vertically, several layers will be observed. These layers are called horizons. And all these layers or horizons are just present one above the other, that is, they are superimposed over each other. And this soil profile can be observed when soil mantle is dug. Now, what is soil mantle? Soil mantle is just the upper surface of the soil over which the plant starts growing. So, only when we dug this soil mantle, when we dug this upper surface, then and then only we can observe the soil profile, because all the other layers are just present below the soil mantle. That is the upper surface. So, we will have to dug the soil mantle to obtain the soil profile. Now, another important term that you need to understand is about pedon. So, what is pedon? Pedon is the smallest three-dimensional volume of a soil. Right? So, let us understand this with this picture. Now, here is present the picture of earth, and this is like just a part of earth that we have taken, like an area of earth, a very small area, right? So this is polypedon, and when we cut like a small three-dimensional volume from this area, right, so it is called soil pedon, right? So like this area is made up of many soil pedons, and therefore it is called polypedon, right? So this three-dimensional structure that we use to study the soil profile is called soil pedon. And like this is one soil pedon. Like this, when we take many soil pedons, then the area can be called polypedon, right? So that's why pedon is the smallest three-dimensional volume of a soil, and we utilize it in the study of soil profile, right? Now this is a very important picture. You must have seen these kind of areas sometimes when you go to hilly areas, or maybe whenever sometimes you go to traveling, or even on normal days, you must have seen these kinds of areas where the soil is dug. This sometimes happens because of rainfall, or because of when some construction work is going on, or this may happen because of landslide, right, or maybe earthquakes, right? So this can lead to the to this kind of condition where you can very clearly observe layers, right? So these layers very clearly tells about soil profile, right? Also many times when road gets cut, gets split because of any of the accidental activities like rainfall or flood or earthquake, then this kind of layers can be observed. This image is very useful and very clearly shows about what is soil profile. So soil profile actually is a story of the soil. This just tells the story of the soil because every soil has its own soil layers, right? It has its own sets of layers, and the soil profile actually tells that what was the composition of the soil and what that soil has gone through, right? So this is a story of the soil, right? So we are going to study about this soil profile, which consists of all these layers, that is O, A, B and C. There are also other layers present, and we will just learn about these layers one after the another in more detail, right? So now that you know what is soil profile, we move towards the understanding of the very first layer from the uppermost region, right? So that is the uppermost part of the soil profile, which is called O horizon, right? This O horizon is present where all of the flora and fauna is also present, right? So it is the uppermost layer of the soil. So the O horizon has been derived from the word organic, so it is also called organic horizon. Now this horizon is composed of freshly or partially decomposed organic matter. So since all of the living matter is present over here, so this horizon will be composed of organic matter that might be freshly decomposed, or it might be partially decomposed, right? So all of the dead leaves and all would be present here, right? So this is organic matter horizon, where you can find organic matter. Now this layer, this horizon forms above the surface of mineral matrix. That is, we'll be learning later on that after these horizons there are certain horizons which are called mineral horizons. This is not mineral horizon, this is organic horizon, and after these there will be mineral horizons present. We will be studying about it. So therefore it is written that it forms above the surface of mineral matrix. So just above the mineral horizon, this horizon is present, which is organic horizon or O horizon. Now this O horizon are basically can be divided into two parts, that is O1 region and O2 region, right? So O1 region is the uppermost layer of the O horizon, that is the uppermost layer is called O1 region. In this layer, you will observe freshly fallen dead leaves, branches or remains of animals. So as shown here, this is the first layer, that is the O1 region, where you can find all of the dead matter of the living organisms like plants, animals, microorganisms or any of the living matter that is present. Its dead parts will be observed in this horizon. So this is the O1 horizon. And this do not show breakdown, right? So this is the freshly fallen dead matter. So as of now there is no starting of breakdown because microorganisms have not started acting upon it, right? So now we move towards the understanding of O2 horizon. O2 horizon is the horizon where you can find different stages of decomposition, right? So in this layer you can find the presence of microorganisms. So microorganisms can be found in this layer. This is O2 region, right? So whatever dead matter was there in the O1 region, when starts decomposing, so that decomposed, partially or fairly decomposed matter can be found over this region, which is the O2 region. Obviously since microorganisms has started acting upon it, so microorganisms can be found in this region. Now this region, that is the O2 region, has mainly two layers. The layer 1 is of detritus, and you know what is detritus. It is the matter over which detritus eater organisms will feed. So it is like just a starting stage of decomposition where you can partially recognize the matter that was present there. That means that the matter has split just partially, breakdown has just started happening, and so this is called detritus. And the next layer is called duff. Now what is duff? Duff is just the lower layer after detritus that contains fairly decomposed matter. That means that in the layer 1, which was detritus, initiation has started, and now as the initiation had just begun, the next layer will be of like fairly decomposed matter, where decomposition of the organic matter has already occurred to a good extent, right? So this is called duff. So this is about O2 region, and this O horizon is very well developed in forest. Obviously forest is a place where you can find all kind of living organisms like plants and all kind of trees, shrubs, all kind of animals, small, big, right? So all of this will contribute to this organic matter, and therefore forest will have a very good amount of organic matter, due to which it will have a very good layer of O horizon, right? So this is about O horizon, where it consists of two regions, O1 and O2, and O2 is also consist of two layers. Layer 1 is of detritus and layer 2 is of duff, right? So this is about O horizon. Now we move towards the understanding of the next horizon, which is right after O, that is the A horizon, right? So A horizon, it follows the O horizon, and this is rich in organic matter, right? Obviously when after O1 and O2, as we saw in O2, there was the process of decomposition that had started. So next layer will have a really good amount of organic matter, but this shows downward loss of soluble salts, clay, iron or aluminium, silica, or maybe any other resistant material, right? So this layer will also have all these particles which have been obtained by withering of rock, and as we just studied that rock also have many kinds of chemicals like salts or iron, aluminium, silica. So when all this gets break down, it just gets mixed with the soil, right? So here you can also find all of these kinds of minerals, and from this layer there would be downward loss of all these particles, all these minerals. So this is called the zone of alluviation or the zone of leaching, right? So what is alluviation, that you need to understand. Alluviation is the transport of material from upper to lower surface. So when the materials that are present in this layer, they start moving downwards in other layers, then it is called the zone of alluviation, or the process is called alluviation, and the material present here that is getting transported is called alluvium, right? So this is the transport of actually alluvium to other layers, and this process is called alluviation, and it is also called leaching, right? So therefore downward loss of all these minerals will take place from this region. Now this A horizon can be divided into two parts, that is A1 region and A2 region, right? So A1 region is the region which is rich in organic matter. So after A2, in O2 we just saw that duff was formed. Duff was a fairly decomposed matter, so that duff further had undergone the process of decomposition, and due to which this organic matter is formed. This is a rich organic matter that is fine and formed because of the act of microorganisms and detritus eaters on it, right? So this is A1 region. Now this A1 region has more amount of organic matter present, but along with it, it will also have mineral matter. So mineral matter here means all of these minerals that are obtained by withering of the rock. So along with this organic matter, there will also be this mineral matter present, but the content of organic matter would be really more in A1 region, and therefore A1 region is also called as humic region or melanized region, because there is more presence of humus present, right? So this is about A1 region. Now we move towards the understanding of A2 region. So A2 region is light in color. As you can see, in comparison to A1 region, A2 is much lighter. It has little organic matter and also a good amount of mineral matter present. So now this layer, in contrast to A1, will have less organic matter and more of mineral matter, right? And why is this happening? Because leaching is taking place due to rainfall. The main reason of leaching is rainfall. When rain falls over the surface, all of the water, it seeps down into the earth. So along with the rainfall water, all of the minerals, they will also seep down. The organic matter will start seeping down, right? And they will move to the lower layers, right? So therefore it will have a less amount of organic matter and mineral matter is present, right? So this happens mainly because of rainfall. And the A2 region is also called podzolic or alluvial zone, right? Why is it called alluvial zone? As I mentioned, from here all the minerals are moving downwards. That is, it is moving from upper layers to lower layers, and hence this is called alluvial zone or the zone of alluviation, right? Okay, and also between the A and B horizon there is a E horizon present, right? So soon after the A horizon comprises of A1 and A2. So soon after the A2 horizon you can find E horizon also. E horizon is not present in all kind of soils. It is mostly present in forest soil. So I have not mentioned it over here, but this is just for you to know that E horizons also sometimes follow A horizon. So E horizon is derived from the word alluviation again, because all of the leached material first reaches the E horizon, and therefore E horizon is also sometimes called the zone of alluviation, right? And from that leached material again downward movement of the materials will take place to the lower layers, right? So therefore E horizon is also called the zone of alluviation, right? So after A2, in the soil profile sometimes there might be E horizon present, and after the E horizon the next horizon, which is B horizon, comes. So now the next horizon that we are going to understand is B horizon. E horizon I have not mentioned because, as I told, it is not present in all kind of soil. So now we move towards the understanding of the next horizon, which is the B horizon, right? So soon after O horizon and A horizon follows the horizon which is B horizon, right? Now this B horizon is just after A horizon, it is below the A horizon and above the C horizon. So after B, C horizon will come. So between these horizons, B horizon is present. Now in this layer there is enrichment with in-washed clay, right? So what is in-washed clay? It is a kind of leaching from clay particles being carried down in suspension, right? So whatever clay particles are present here in A, they just start moving downward because of leaching due to rainfall, and this happens because of suspension, due to suspension. What is suspension? When it rains, right, so clay particle, they does not actually dissolve in water. Clay particles will not dissolve in water, it will just get mixed with the water and it will leach down with the water, right. So that is called suspension, when a solid particle does not dissolve in water but it just settles down with the water, then it is called suspension. So these clay particles which are solid will move along with water downwards, and this is called suspension. So this is in-washed clay, means in this region B horizon you will observe more of in-washed clay which has been obtained because of the leaching of the clay particles with water, and this process of leaching of this clay particles with water due to suspension is called lessivation, right. So that is what has been mentioned here, that is the in-washed clay obtained from the upper layers due to rainfall by the process of suspension is called lessivation, right. So here you will observe more of enrichment of in-washed clay, iron, aluminium, manganese and organic matter. All of this has been obtained from the upper layers of A horizon, so it will have an enrichment of all these things. Then also in this layer all of this material can be observed, like silicate clay, iron, aluminium, humus, carbonates, gypsum. So all of these materials, they may be present alone or they may be present in combination with other materials. So all of this has been obtained from the upper layer because they have moved down because of leaching, right. Now you can also observe in this horizon coating of sesquioxides, right. That makes the horizon conspicuously lower in color value or redder in hue, right. So let us just understand in very brief what is sesquioxides. Sesquioxides is an oxide in which oxygen is present in the ratio of 3 atoms to 2 atoms of another element. So that means that 3 atoms of oxygen would be present and 2 atoms of any other element would be present. So an example of sesquioxide would be Al2O3, that is aluminium oxide. So in this there is 3 atoms of oxygen O3 and 2 atoms of aluminium, that is Al2, right. So sesquioxides would be all like Al2O3, Mn2O3, Mg2O3, Fe2O3. So all these are sesquioxides. So here we can observe more of sesquioxides, and because of the presence of sesquioxides there would be lower color value, but you can find a good hue, that is you can find a good shade of color. Hue means shade, right. So you can find a good red hue present in this horizon. So this horizon would be more red in comparison to other horizons, right. So this is about the presence of sesquioxides. Also you can observe residual concentration of sesquioxides, because sesquioxides, as I told, there is coating present, so obviously leaching takes place, and because of that there is residual concentration of sesquioxides present. Now the layer here is coarse textured, so whatever matter is present, whatever soil matter is present, that is coarse textured, and you can observe brittleness in this layer, that is the soil particles would be more brittle. And this area is very poorly developed in dry area, right. Why this happens? Because dry area is a place where there is usually less rainfall or no rainfall, right. So as rainfall is not there, obviously the earth is not going to seep water, since there would be no water absorbed in, and so there would be no leaching, and since there would be no leaching, so B horizon would be formed very less, because B horizon is mainly formed by leaching of all these materials that are present on in the upper layer, right? So this is very poorly developed in dry area because of the absence of rainfall, right? So this is about B horizon, and since chemicals and clay from this A region, right, gets collected here, which is B region, so this horizon is also called the zone of illuviation or alluvial zone. So now you need to understand what is illuviation. Illuviation is the process by which introduction of salts or any material takes place into new soil, horizon, maybe from upper layers to lower layers. So illuviation is the process by which a layer receives everything from the upper layer. So it is just alluviation and illuviation are actually two sides of a coin, right? So when alluviation happens, as we mentioned in the A horizon, when something moves from upwards to downwards, right? And when we can say that it is illuviation, that is in B horizon, when a downward layer receives something from an upper layer, so then that is called illuviation, right? And the material that gets deposited here because of leaching is called alluvium, right? And what was alluvium that we studied in A horizon is the material that gets leached down, right? So that is alluvium, and when the material it reaches the B horizon, it would be called alluvium because there the material deposits, right? So this is the process of illuviation, and hence the zone is called illuviation zone or alluvial zone, right? So this is about B horizon. And also B horizon can be divided into three other layers, that is B1, B2 and B3, but this depends upon the type of soil. Not all type of soil will have this bifurcation, right? So it totally depends upon the type of soil. So we are not going to go into deep about these layers, right? So now we move towards the understanding of the next layer that follows the B horizon is the C horizon, right? So C horizon is just present below B horizon, that is after B, and above R horizon, that is after C would be R horizon. So this horizon excludes true bedrock. Now what is true bedrock, that we will understand in our horizon, but for now you understand that it is not a true bedrock and there is no characteristic of A and B. So whatever characteristics of the soil was there in the A horizon and in the B horizon is not present in this layer. So here there is no leaching taking place. Here there is no soil characteristics like organic matter or mineral matter, right? Here you can only find incompletely withered rock, right? So these are mainly made up of rock, and these rocks are incompletely withered. That is, withering process has started, but it has not completely withered. So this has not gone into the formation of soil. So it is in the process of making soil, but it has not withered completely. So this is incompletely withered rock. And we can also term the incompletely withered rock as unconsolidated rock. Unconsolidated means when something breaks because of erosion, or maybe by other activities, when something breaks we call it unconsolidated. So this is unconsolidated rock, that is the rock that has broken. It is not present as a one single rock, but you can observe many rocks that has broken because of maybe many other activities like erosion or maybe by the action of chemicals, right? So this is about C horizon. Now we move towards our last horizon, which is the R horizon, right? So This is the last horizon, which is the lowermost horizon of the soil profile. This mainly consists of rock. So this is a whole rock that is present. This rock has not broken yet. So this is a rock that has not broken, and this is a whole rock. So we can call this a consolidated rock, that is the rock that has not yet started the process of withering, right? So this is our horizon, and this can also be called as true bedrock, because this rock has not yet broken. So this is the parent material, and from this material this withered rock is formed, right? So okay, this is about horizons. Now we just understand some important terms that you need to know. Okay, so A horizon and B horizon are together called as solemn, right? Solemn means, or you can also say that solemn is a true soil. That is, A horizon and B horizon together comprises the true soil or the solemn, right? Why? Because as you can see, any plant root will only grow up to the B horizon, because this is true soil, soil where all of the root can grow up to. The roots will not is not going to reach the C horizon. So this is called solemn or true soil, because roots, plant roots, they grow only up to B horizon, where the roots can actually only find minerals and organic matter up to this horizon for their growth. So this is a combination of A and B is called solemn. And from O horizon to B horizon is the topsoil, that is the soil that is important for the plant to grow. From O to B, as we already explained, that for the roots to grow it is only up to B horizon. So from O to B it is called the topsoil, and from C to R it is called the subsoil, that is the layer that is present after the topsoil. So this is C and R are together called subsoil, right? Also, when E layer would be present between A and B, then O, E and B, when E layer would be present between A and B, then A, E and B will together constitute the solemn. But when E layer is absent, so then it would be the combination of A and B that will form solemn, right? So as I mentioned, this is the bedrock, the true bedrock, which is a whole rock which has not yet broken. So this is a consolidated rock, a whole rock, right? And yeah, okay, so as I mentioned, it is a consolidated rock, right? So this is about all the horizons. You can very clearly see that the uppermost horizon is the O horizon. It has two layers, O1 where all the dead matter is present, and O2 where partial decomposition has started, and you can observe some of the decomposed organic matter here. And then follows the A horizon. A again has two layers, A1 and A2. A1 is the very rich organic matter, and it would have some amount of mineral matter. A2 is light in color, and it has more of mineral matter and also some amount of organic matter. Then after A, sometimes E horizon would be present, but this layer can only be observed in forest areas. And after E, we can observe B horizon. B horizon is the area which has received all kind of minerals from A horizon. So B is the zone of illuviation and A is the zone of alluviation. Also, when E horizon is present, then it can also be called as the zone of alluviation. Now only up to this B horizon, it is the true soil, and so it is called solemn because the true root can only grow up to B horizon. After B horizon follows the C horizon, which is mainly composed of partially withered rock, and then follows the R horizon, which is the actual true parent bedrock, which consists of single rock or consolidated rock. So from O to B it is called topsoil, and from C to R it is called subsoil, right? So I hope that the topic of soil profile would be now very much clear with you. So with this we end our lecture, and if you have any doubt, just contact me. I'll just clear your doubts, right? Okay, so that's it for today. Thank you.